Hello, everybody. Welcome to Irongeek Cast number 146. Trigger warning. And strangely enough, I was not the one that chose that title.
I was.
You go, Frank. All right. How's everybody doing tonight? We only got two on the cast because, well, quarter four, I think, is partly to blame. I think that's got Caprico, what's the term, avalanched?
Yeah, I saw his post about that. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, Capricorn's not going to be joining us tonight. And what about Israel? Is he coming?
He said one of his primary AP died, so I'm pretty sure that's his primarily wireless access point at his house. Sounds like it died, so
Doesn't he have an extra?
he's I don't know. That's what he just said. He said primary AP died, so he's not gonna be on.
You know what? I need to look back into that because it's been so long since I looked into wireless. I've had all sorts of things over time. I went from a G to what the hell was an N, an AC. I never had a B because I didn't move into this house until a little bit. Well, after that became no longer the standard. What the
Yeah,
hell?
I like messing with my access points. I've got a DDWRT on this one, Road Warrior, and it's beautiful. I can throw an OpenVPN file on it and just have it connect out and tunnel all my stuff through that connection. It's fun.
Nifty. What is the current newest standard? AC was the last one I knew.
AC is the current.
But it
It's
still
the
is. Okay.
current in production
Yeah.
standard. They came out with another one after that, but it's not.
Wasn't it like AN or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Well-
I think AF.
Yeah, but
yeah,
it's still in development. It's not prime time.
What was
it's
wrong with
five.
it?
It's 5 gigahertz, but it's supposed to have a longer range. Because right now,
Well, nothing's wrong with it. It's just not live.
Oh, okay.
yeah, like 5 gigahertz right now has shit range, but it has awesome data transfer. 2.4 has great range, so now they're trying to combine and have good range and good throughput.
Yeah, when I went from I believe it was N to AC, and I did end up doing 5 gigahertz on it. My throughput came out a whole lot better because living in a neighborhood, it's kind of saturated.
Yeah, you want to put your channels. You want to use non-standard channels if you can. Try and
Well, hack firmware that shouldn't be a problem.
not at all.
I'll pretend I'm in Europe.
It's not that hard actually.
No, it's just the hardware can do it. It's just a matter of the firmware telling it to.
Yep.
Right.
So what do we
So-
got in the show notes? I have no announcements for cons for a bit.
Yeah, no more cons for you this year. That sucks.
Nope.
Well, it's December, but I mean, still. So I put some stuff in the breach report here, and I didn't know what to put for announcements, so I just put like two little bullet points there as placeholders. But I guess we don't have anything.
That works for me, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate doing the work.
No problem, dude.
The guy whose name is on the cast does the least amount of work on it.
Well, we're all riding on your fame here. That's how it works.
Yay! Or my infamy, depending on who the hell you talk to. Been battling with various
Infamy is
Thing
still
is bad
fame.
publicity.
I've been battling with various people bullying me, claiming I'm bullying other people when I'm not, lying about me, but then people believe in them because
Because they
gender
already
bias.
don't like you, so if they don't like you, and then now it confirms their confirmation bias.
Where also gender bias is involved in that, I think.
yeah.
Well, yeah, they're gonna look out the news that shows. Oh yeah, we're right about him.
Yeah, it confirms what they already believe.
But like I said, infamy is still fame though. No matter how you
Yeah,
slice it,
and-
it's still fame.
And there's no such thing as bad publicity. So
Yeah, and luckily there is a series of new cons coming up that are going to try to avoid drama by avoiding people who are prone to whine about every fucking thing. I know people call that gatekeeping. No, that's sanity keeping.
I saw a post recently about RSA and how they're really happy that it's no longer all white men on the panels, and they've gone out of their way to find diverse people who are women and people of color.
Now, if
And
you
I'm
think
thi-
that's prejudice,
I'm
the
thinking
best
like
way
the-
you could go about
Yeah,
I'm
I
sorry.
mean, why would you go out of your way to find people who are not necessarily the people who are the best experts in the field?
If
Not
you-
that they are or aren't, but I mean, it's like
Well, if you think there's a bias, I can understand the point of doing a blind like CFP.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, there was one conference once that got canceled because they did a blind CFP. I think it was called ElectroConf, and
Well,
they
I
still
guess
got all
everybody
men.
was white men, right?
I don't know if they were all white, but as I'm called, they were all men.
It doesn't surprise me because I think the amount of people we have in our field who are men, and it's disproportionate. It's
They
just
had
a
to got
lot
a
of
few
white
Indian
guys got
folks
into
in there.
STEM. So if you have like maybe one woman for every 10 guys in a field, and you can't really get the same representation, so you have
Yeah.
to go out of your way to kind of find people who may not be the best qualified to give a talk, but they meet your criteria of being maybe a person of color or a woman.
When I went through my master's degree, most of my classes were actually, strange enough, most of my classes were, I believe, Chinese and Indian, and then a few white people. And I had one class. I remember there was one class where I was the only white guy who was American. There was another white guy who was German. There was one black guy who was African, and then I don't remember which particular nation in Africa. Um, and everybody else was Indian and Chinese. Now, I understand a lot of Indian folks stay here because if I go to our data center in the United States, I see a whole lot of Indian folks working there, people of Indian heritage. But I don't know what's up with the Chinese. Do they all go back home? Because I don't see nearly as many Chinese folks sticking around.
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of this stuff, a lot of the jobs in tech that can be done overseas get done overseas. I
Hmm.
mean, if they can outsource it, they're going to outsource it. So if you have somebody coming here to get education and then they leave, they go back to their country, and they're the one who knows the most stuff now.
Yeah,
It
but even then,
like
well, I don't know. They may get paid really, really well there. But look at what's happening in Hong Kong. And after seeing a little bit of that Chinese interrogation thing recently, I'm like, I think I might take a little lower pay and just stay in America if they'll let me.
yeah. I
But I
mean,
doubt it's even lower pay.
I would like to check out another country, maybe live there for a few years, but I don't know if I'd want to live there permanently. Yeah,
Hmm.
I don't want to be an expat. Anyway, we have some cool stuff in the show notes this week. We have this Nebraska medicine breach. Uh, they essentially got owned by an employee, it looks like. And during an audit of electronic medical records in their system, they discovered an employee accessed patient records outside their job responsibility. This happened October 1st, and they started contacting people around now. And people are mad about this. It's only a month. Do they know how long the average time it takes
We have
between the detection of a data breach and when they notify people is? It's like months, if not years. And they're upset about a month.
I mean,
So
that's well betting above average for just a detection rate.
right, like it's usually they're doing an audit like a year later and they find out something's amiss. It's very rarely it's a month in. Anyway, so the unauthorized access occurred between July 11th and October 1st and may have included information such as social security numbers, addresses, laboratory results, and/or imaging. So if that's why I'm a big fan of the least access needed model. Like, there's no reason an employee who doesn't need access to people's social security numbers should be able to pull them up in the system. If the person doesn't need this to do their job, they shouldn't have access to it. That's my feeling on this stuff. Uh, what do you think, Adrian?
I'm still. I got hung up on reading live beefs talking about having Malort,
What?
having something called Malort.
Oh,
You never had Malort?
no, I don't know what that means.
Yes, I've had my lord.
Yeah, that sucks. I guess it's a little bit like uh, what is that? Jägermeister, but worse.
Yeah, I felt it at this year's DerbyCon. But I had the time of my life though.
It's kind of nasty. We were coming up with names to subtitle it at ShomiCon once, and it was things like the thing that survived the Chicago fire. One person, obviously not a Trump fan, said, "I understand why people would vote Trump now." Someone said, "This is how you unfriend put people in person."
Wow,
Shit like that.
heavy shit.
my ass now tastes like mouth or something. I'm sorry, I missed your question, Earl. Not very Frank.
I was just asking you if you're a fan of like the least access model, where the employees should not get access to data that falls outside the scope of their job
Yeah,
responsibility.
it kind of have to be, but sometimes shit creeps in, and sometimes just to make something work, they give extra access, or someone moves job responsibilities and certain roles aren't, changed.
True.
But these are things that are constantly have to be monitored and checked to make sure. That's the only solution realistically, is to constantly monitor and check, users' permissions, users' access. But again, one day it's the person who's like a sysadmin can now be an engineer or security engineer. Are you going to give them the same level of access? I mean, these are things that you want to look at when you're, running a company or whatnot. Like, okay, this person. Go ahead.
I was just thinking. I was starting to look into is when responsibilities are spread amongst multiple institutions, how that works out. Like in the corporate world, it might be a little bit easier, but I know there's universities where you get a university account at one university, but a different account because part of your job is at another university because you're working on some kind of mutual grant that everybody does.
Right.
I'm sorry, but sorry to interrupt your thought.
No. Again, it's just one of those things. Like, say if you had somebody that's like, and we see this all the time. Somebody that worked in, like, say, the accounting department or just a department that's totally outside of IT, and now they're moving into, like, say, sysadmin role or whatnot, but they still have the permissions a lot of times for the accounting department and the finances. You see what I'm getting at? Where they move from a totally different role that has nothing to do with IT. Now they are IT, and they still have the same level of permissions that they once did, including like more for the sysadmin side of the house, which is never.
Well, at least they had the access controls to notice that something like this happened. A lot of places they just wouldn't even know. So
this is true.
Commended for that.
Yeah, I'm. What you see in the background, I'm actually in Atlanta. Right? Yeah. So I head out on Friday doing a red team engagement for wireless stuff. So having some fun. Yay!
You got a pineapple?
Yeah, I got the pineapple running. A couple of alphas going right now, and of course my battery juice pack, which I'll probably go downstairs later on and just have some fun with that. Along with my SDR rating.
Do you like the alphas over just anything with like maybe an RTL 8187 or a Atheros chipset?
I don't have a specific preference realistically. I mean, each thing has its own job. Like, for example, I use the TP Links a lot because I mean they're cheaper radios, but they do get the job done as well too. So I break out the alphas when I just really want to just. I mean, they have a better quality antenna. Let's face it, that's why they cost what they cost. And then on top of that, the thing that I like about the alphas is the fact that I can put them in what they call it master mode, which is I can configure these things that I can do their own APs to gather stuff. So it just depends on the type of card. I mean, they all do the same function, a lot of them. Well, depending on the drivers, that allows you to inject traffic. So that's the end goal, to be able to inject and put it in promiscuous mode to monitor some cool stuff. And yeah, and now I'm starting to use a little bit of the I'm putting these little babies to work for some stuff. The Raspberry Pi Zeros.
Yeah, those guys, you can do some cool stuff with those.
Yeah, I got one of the Zero W's, so I could. Was it? That is right, Zero W's. I was doing a quick HDMI test of when doing video, but I haven't done much with it.
When the Pi Zeros first came out, I was manic off my ass, and I went to Black Hat and I saw Kevin Mitnick, so I gave him a bunch of Pi Zeros for no reason whatsoever, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm not plugging these into my computer."
Now, I'm debating if I want to go to DEF CON next year. If I am, I'm going to need to find someone in the room with.
I don't know if I'm going yet, but if I decide to, I'd be down.
All right.
Yeah, or vice versa. If I'm there,
Oh, imagine some people want to fight my ass, though.
I'm fine. I'm down. I'll jump in.
Listen, no, it's not going to go down. I'll just put it that way.
I'm gotten out of shape. I'm not as tough as I once was.
No, it's not about being tough. It's just, yeah.
It's about knowing how to kick him in the balls.
Not on my watch. I refuse. Sorry. Can't.
Are you a pacifist?
Huh?
Are you a pacifist?
I'm just saying, not on my watch. We're live.
Excellent.
Yes, definitely at least access possible, but we all know that creeps out. You know, it's kind of like air gap. Yeah, it's the best thing, but shit happens. Someone
Definitely.
plugs something into the wrong place, or someone takes someone out of a certain group, and
Yep.
Or hey, I need this temporarily, and it never goes away. It becomes permanent.
Mm-hmm. That happens a lot as well too, being permanent. Like, yeah, he or she still needs his access because of legacy. He was part of the legacy team, so pretty much fire the laser.
They need access to this data because it's in a legacy application, and they may need to use it.
Yeah, and they're the only ones that worked on it. Woo!
Company I used to work for, they actually had given access to a developer, who was a contractor, to our main database of essentially we translated medical data from one format to another and billing data.
Right.
So they gave this guy access, and he had complete remote access, and then stopped working for us, and they never revoked his access. And then we had an incident where some records were accessed using his account, and he denied he was the one who accessed them. So that was a lot of fun. I think he dropped. The bandit dropped.
No, I'm back.
He's back.
You know, I'm on a different connection.
Wi-Fi hopping.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Stop de-authing the network, and you won't have that problem.
I'm trying. Woo!
I know you want to capture those handshakes so you can send them off to crack them, but I mean, come on, you gotta have some stable internet access here.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying. They're not paying fail.
So, do you have a decent rig for cracking hatches?
Oh yeah. We got a rig back at the remote office that we clean house with.
Nice. I'm building my new rig. I'm putting in a 2080 Super so I can crack some hashes with it.
Interesting.
Yeah. Apparently, it's got a very good hash ratio for the amount of money that you spend on the card.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay, so we have some more stuff. Third-party vendor Magellan data breach impacts McLaren Health. So this one is a vendor added McLaren Health to the breach victims impacted by its phishing attack. Presbyterian Health expands breach numbers, insider wrongdoing, and an email hack to complete this week's roundup. So I'm not going to read all that shit, but essentially the gist of it is McLaren contracted Magellan, and Magellan got phished, and some of the data from McLaren got leaked. So
always nice.
Phishing is amazing. I'm surprised this shit still works. It's gonna work forever too. But you just keep seeing all these people falling for phishing, and
when I used to do it, I was always surprised by some of the ruses people would click through, and we started getting less success rate of actually getting executables to run. But
that's difficult because you have certain third-party solutions designed not to run executables from email, and even if they click a link to something that's got an executable, a lot of AV won't run it if it's
Yeah, getting people to click was pretty easy, but getting executable run was hard. Getting creds wasn't as easy as getting the click, obviously, but we were still way too successful. The things that stopped us a lot of times was two-factor authentication.
What I'm a big fan of now is the so with Responder, you just set it up in the cloud and set it up to listen, and then you send somebody a Word document that's got a UNC path back to your
Ooh,
responder box.
that's good.
And then as soon as they open the document, it tries to authenticate to your machine, and you get their username and hash, which I think is just awesome.
Yeah, my current job, I'm doing more monitoring and reporting and such. But how do I put this
So
way?
so am I, but I still like, you know, being up to date on the red team stuff and playing around with it.
This is better than all the reports I used to write. By the way, I haven't weightlifted in a while, so I'm gonna be lifting dumbbells in the background. Go ahead.
I just got back from the gym myself, and I was lifting weightlifts.
I've been too lazy, man.
Yeah, I force myself to go twice a week now. I got to step up to 3 times a week.
You guys got me focused out here. Woo!
So the next, I've got a lot of medical stuff this week, and it's really surprising how many things are getting owned in the medical field. You'd think HIPAA and all that fun stuff would at least stop some of this, but no. So we have this Solara Medical facing lawsuit over data breach impacting 114,000 patients. And a patient filed the class action suit on behalf of everyone, impacting recently disclosed medical supplies data breach. So a medical supplies company um, had a breach. They sell medical devices and disposable medical products. They started notifying their patients that their data was compromised after several email accounts were breached, again, phishing. Review of the compromised accounts found a hacker could have potentially accessed a trove of sensitive information ranging from contact names to dates of birth, social security numbers, other personally identifying information. So, uh, the breach victims also claim Solara failed to implement reasonable security measures that would ensure their vendor systems were protected. The vendor is accused of failing to take adequate steps to prevent the breach and timely reporting the fact that the breach happened. So we have all this fun stuff happening with medical stuff lately, and it seems to be a trend, I would say, that they're going after medical stuff. I don't know why, but probably because it's an easy target and you get a lot of good information from it.
Yeah.
Next, we have mobile device data breach leads to a 3 million HIPAA settlement.
Gorgeous. Beautiful.
HIPAA 3 mil. That's a nice chunk of change to have to pay up for fucking up.
Yeah.
So earlier this month, the University of Rochester Medical Center agreed to pay $3 million in a settlement with the Office of Civil Rights at the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. More than $3 million fine, however, is a significant amount of ongoing corrective action that the healthcare organization has agreed to undergo as part of HIPAA. Isn't HIPAA great? A as self-described on its website, URMC is one of the nation's leading academic medical centers and is the centerpiece for University of Rochester's health research, teaching, and patient care missions. So they got owned, and they have to pay some money. That's how it goes. Too bad that money didn't go to the victims. It goes to a government agency. It'd be nice if you just find out you get a big fat check in the mail one day saying, "Sorry, you were owned. Here's some money. I'll take the money." It's not like we're getting that Equifax $125 anymore. So um, I think it's down to 23 cents a person.
That's awesome.
Stuff. Yeah. Or you can get free credit monitoring for a year. They always offer the free credit monitoring. Um, so the next thing we have is New Zealand's gun buyback scheme impacted by a data breach. SAP to blame. Those SAPs. SAP has been left red-faced for allowing the security lapse to occur. New Zealand's firearms buyback scheme. Why would you buy back firearms? Let the people keep their guns.
Another thing with the buyback system, ultimately, if it's a mandatory buyback, people say, well, it's not a confiscation, it's a buyback. If it's mandatory, it's a confiscation.
Yeah.
Somehow I doubt. Now, my AR-15 is not that hugely expensive. It's a decent one, but it's still not, it's not budget, rock bottom. It's got, chrome line barrel and all that pretty stuff. But
somebody was telling me that they were doing a gun buyback program and they were giving 150 per gun, regardless of the gun. So he was considering going to get this like $60 cheap piece of shit gun. That
dude, people have made use zip guns and brought them in. Homemade shotguns and shit.
Yeah.
So you can make a profit with one of those, but none of my guns, I think, are that little bit expensive.
You have to be really careful when you do that, though, because not all states consider zip guns to be legal. So be really careful before you do that.
You got a point. Also, there's someone who went out and bought new high points and turned them in for the same price as for a better price than what he paid for them at a buyback.
Damn.
Cool.
All right, for those who don't know, in the cast, high points, or not in the cast, but the cast probably mostly knows. High points are like one of the cheapest little, I think 9mm45s you can get handguns, like 10 rounds, I think, and they look like shit. But they are fairly fucking reliable. My understanding, the people.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, by the way, I have someone on Twitter saying, I'm the most likely person, or one of the most likely people in our industry to do a mass shooting. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I saw that. I was like, what the fuck is this guy thinking?
I think he's one of those Antifa types.
Yeah. So the buyback scheme, which ends on December 20th, allows gun holders to trade in full weapons as well as parts, accessories, and magazines. Both an amnesty program, allowing illegal weapons to be owned without a license to be turned in without fear of prosecution, and a buyback scheme for licensees, launched after New Zealand suffered mass shootings in the Christchurch Mosque. Local MPs voted, don't care about that. So going on to the data breach part of this, names, addresses, dates of birth, firearm license numbers, bank account details were all accessed, as reported by The Guardian, in what somebody says was a shopping list for criminals. That's what they're calling the leak, shopping list for criminals. Once made aware of the incident, Clement says that the platform was immediately shut down, not to be used again until law enforcement says it's safe to do so.
Oh, shit. Fuck up. So the idea is they'd find out where these weapons are and go steal them.
Right. So the website used by firearms owners to register and relinquish their weapons got breached. So all that data, such as which arms dealer has what, it was all out there.
I've heard that New Zealand's buyback program or whatever, it hasn't been doing particularly well as far as the number turned in versus what they think's out there.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, they're very much like Texas as far as wanting to keep their guns.
Oh yeah. Oh, and the prime minister, what do they call it? As a prime minister or a president?
I think it's prime minister.
Prime minister. She just seems so weak.
Yeah.
I know before you
Prime Minister
sexism complaints, she's not a Margaret Thatcher. Margaret Thatcher came off as, I'm badass, I'm here, I'm going to do, this is what we're going to do. She had a certain presence. But the Prime Minister of New Zealand just comes off as wishy-washy,
Yeah. And keeping with the gun theme, Smith & Wesson's website was hacked, and they stole customer payment information.
Yeah, I put this one in there because I saw that, and I was like, oh, that's great, because, yeah, we're all gunnies, and, this is information security.
These Mage Card attacks are great. If you listen to Darknet Diaries, he actually did a whole episode on Mage Card attacks, which is really well done. You should check it out when you're done listening to this podcast. You should check it out.
Yeah, Now, most of this stuff is that you'll get off their website is like accessories or apparel. You're not going to buy guns from their storefront, so it's like that's pretty much all that was. So, the people who usually do that are not a lot of people, but there's going to be some hits on that one.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that information could also be very useful to some people. I mean, I don't know which people, but some people. um, the next one we have is a hospital. They got breached, and they did not report it. They just kept it to themselves, and they got fined $2.175 million. So yeah, that's pretty much the gist of that one. I'm not even going to read the article. It's like that's the whole thing. They didn't report it. They knew it happened. They made an executive decision. Said nope, we're not going to tell people, and it came out. Um, Mixcloud data breach. So I put a couple of links for this one, and this one, I mean, it's 21 million users compromised data, and it's got their password hashes, but they're salted, and even though they're salted, you can still crack them sometimes, but not easily. Um, so it's unlikely they're going to be decrypted. Um, they do not store full payment card numbers or mailing addresses. So even though a lot of records were breached, it doesn't seem like the records contained a lot of useful information for the attackers. Um, so that's that breach. Um, the next one I think Adrian might like. So this woman lied on her resume for a CIO position, and now she's
Why
going
would
to
I like
jail.
that? Why would I like that?
I don't know.
Oh,
I thought you'd like it.
okay.
It seemed up your alley. So, a woman who lied on her resume and faked glowing references to land a high paying job with an Australian region government has been sentenced to at least a year in prison. Veronica Hilda, I can't say her other name, 46, was convicted Tuesday of deception, dishonesty, and abuse of public office relating to her 2017 application for the Chief Information Officer role, which came with an annual salary of 270,000 Australian dollars or 185 grand US. She worked in the position with the South Australia Department of Premier and Cabinet for over a month and earned about 33 grand. Um, she pled guilty to all charges and received a 25-month sentence with non parole for a year. The court heard that she submitted a fraudulent resume to the department with false information relating to her education. And this article doesn't say, but the other one I linked to does. She actually answered her own uh, references when they went to go call her references. She answered the phone and she was pretending to be the references. She had different numbers for them and everything. So she gave herself glowing recommendations, and I thought that was pretty funny. I think they noticed it was the same voice, but
Oh, you can change it.
maybe it's not the same person. Yeah. I So she also had a mental breakdown about a month into the job because she couldn't handle all the stress, and because she had supposedly worked in positions that were more stressful in the past, this led them to question why she was having so much trouble, and they looked into her past and realized it was all bullshit.
But damn.
Yeah. She also had a photo of supermodel Kate Upton as her LinkedIn profile photo,
Oh shit. Yeah.
and
At least get her a job doing social engineering or something.
yeah. Um, so she says that she's deeply ashamed and embarrassed. Yada yada yada. Um, yeah, that's that article. I think that's pretty funny that she was able to get away with it. You know, at least for a month with no actual uh, resume experience of similar jobs that she'd really done. She'd also pulled this twice before, apparently. So you think if they ran a background check, that would have come up. Uh, the next thing we have on vulnerable stuff and notable hacks is Experience Data Breach Industry Forecast reveals what criminal technology challenges CUs and FIs will face next year. Do you know what a CU and an FI is? I certainly don't, but we'll find out. Text based smishing drones and deepfake technologies are all among the biggest emerging cyber threats. As with the top concerns are hackers leveraging text to go after consumer financial account details. And there's a lot of ads in this, and I can't find the rest of the article. Yeah, where'd it go? You know what? I don't think I'm allowed to read the rest of the article because it's behind some kind of a paywall. So, you know what? That's all you get for that article is that. Sorry. Um, I have this plugin at work, and it's called Unpaywall. I put it on Firefox, and it bypasses the paywalls for like 30 of the top sites where they like Wall Street Journal and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
um, so I sometimes link to articles that I find at work, not realizing I'm not going to be able to read them later because I don't have the plugin installed on my browser at home. So
Oh man.
anyway, it's a good plugin though. You should check it out. Uh, so we cannot read that, but the next one we have is a website hack could be as bad as a vote attack. This is referring to election systems. Essentially, they counties have websites talking about where they tally the votes. So imagine how bad it would be if a hacker just changed the votes on the website that says what the results are, rather than hacking the actual election. That's that's what the gist is. The thing it's just as bad, and probably a lot easier. Now, story time here. I used to work for local government, and the Board of Elections had their own IT department, separate and apart from us, but we were like their backup. And we saw some appalling shit going on in the BOE. They would, first off, everything was Windows XP machines. And this was a time when Windows 8 was around, and they were still using XP, and they refused to upgrade because they were having partisan fights between the Republican head and the Democrat head. They couldn't decide to upgrade their stuff. And if one side tried to do it, the other side would veto it. Um, they tallied up votes manually from all the different polling stations into Excel workbooks that were filled with macros that nobody checks. So all it would take would be some disgruntled IT person going into the Excel Excel file, changing the macro so that it changes the vote count, and that becomes the official thing for the vote. So I mean, as far as I know, it never happened, but it's something I thought about because it's like you'd think you would guard that stuff, and it would be like the systems you spend the most money on, and you'd have like IT monitoring, making sure nobody's hacking the network. But nah, man, just a whole network within the network of XP machines running outdated software. Never go. They all could go online and constantly getting viruses and needing people to fix them. Yeah, really sad. That's my story. Um, moving forward, we have a hack that lifts limits on contactless pay cards, contactless card payments rather, debuts at Black Hat Europe 2019. And this article is on the Portswigger website, which make the wonderful program Burp Suite, which a lot of security analysts cannot live without, even though they charge $400 for it.
What? Oh, that was yeah. Work's going to get me a license of that eventually.
Yeah, Work's been promising to get me a license too. I don't think it's ever going to happen though. Um, so, vulnerabilities in contactless payments pose a threat to the integrity of the increasingly popular payment model, security researchers have warned. Contactless NFC payments, first introduced in 2007, are becoming more and more commonplace, accounting for 40% of transactions globally and fast replacing both cash and chip and PIN implementations. Um, a security researcher at Positive Technologies and their colleague discovered several problems in the security of contactless payments. It's in Duo's latest research. Didn't Duo get acquired by Google? Um, anyway, so I said Google and my phone answered. Uh, into the security vulnerabilities of mobile point of sale systems presented at Black Hat. During a presentation, researchers demonstrated how to bypass the UK's $39 limit for contactless payments using physical cards. The trick involves presenting a physical card as if it were a software token on a smartphone, bypassing Visa's limits in the process. Related trickery can be used to circumvent limits for mobile wallets using locked mobile phones. Kind of interesting. I'd like to see that attack. I would, Black Hat takes forever to put their stuff online if they even put it online at all. So I would like to see this talk when it comes up. Looks interesting. According to Visa, the company's global contactless fraud rate is declined by 30 declined by 33% between 2017 and 2018, and 40% over Europe. Using the same technology as an EMV chip, contactless cards are extremely effective in preventing counterfeit fraud by using a one-time use code that prevents compromised data from being reused for fraud. A Visa spokesman told this this company here uh, in their researchers presentation. Nevertheless, um, this research will shake up the industry, and now they're doing RFID payment. That's going to be a problem. If you've done any research into RFID stuff, you know it's not inherently very secure. So, very fun. Um, moving forward. And how are you guys doing? Anybody still alive over there?
I'm still here.
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah.
I am still alive. Woo! Sorry,
Staying
I'm
alive.
like, yeah. Staying alive. Oh, yeah, you took it back. Staying alive.
So the next thing I've got here for us to talk about is the Upbit hack. Stolen Ethereum worth millions on the move to unknown wallets. One of the addresses involved in last week's theft from South Korean crypto exchange Upbit is moving millions of dollars worth of stolen Ethereum into an unknown wallet. As Whale Alert, a service dedicated to tracking major cryptocurrency transactions, has flagged today, the transaction occurred at 7:52 a.m. The transaction was preceded by a smaller transfer of about 150 grand worth of Ethereum. At the time of the writing, the transactions continue, and another 10,000 Ethereum was transferred. Um, Upbit, which is run by a subsidiary of Korea tech giant Kakao, revealed last week that 342,000 Ether had been stolen from its hot wallet on November 27. The theft occurred at a time when the exchange was allegedly moving assets between hot and cold storage facilities, leading to some to speculate that the incident may be an inside job.
Wouldn't
Uh,
surprise me.
in, yeah, man, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Uh, a lot of temptation with that much money. And if you think you can get away with it, and it's a cryptocurrency nonetheless, I mean, it's
Mm.
like, yeah, hard to track. Industry members, including Binance CEO Changpeng Zhao, had immediately pledged to ensure that the stolen funds would not be transacted via their platforms. What? How do you do that? Today's transfers have been flagged as associated with the Upbit hack, but as direct wallet-to-wallet transfers were successfully confirmed on the network. Some stolen money out there in Ethereum. That's one of the cryptocurrencies I never got behind. I mean, I liked Bitcoin. I even liked Bitcoin Cash, but Ethereum little more volatile than Bitcoin, if you ask me.
See, I haven't looked much into the cryptocurrencies.
I have a wallet with Coinbase, and it's really easy to use. They always two-step verify everything. Like every time I log in, I have to get a text message on top of an email. So it's like a lot of steps to get into your wallet and do stuff. But they let me keep my Bitcoin and a couple other cryptocurrencies there. I don't have a lot, less than $1,000, but it's still kind of cool that they take security pretty seriously, where they won't let you log in with just a text. You gotta have do this and do that, and it's nice. Moving on. Um, so where was I?
So?
Okay. Moving on. The North Korean hacking group may be behind malware-laden fake crypto site.
Huh.
So, a new and hard-to-detect macOS malware variant has been discovered lurking on a fake cryptocurrency trading site. Discovered by malware researcher Dinesh Devadras, the malware code is believed to have been developed by the notorious North Korean hacking group Lazarus. What is that? What's Lazarus? Is that 23?
That's biblical right there. Woo,
Yeah.
rising from the dead.
The software was found on a website with the address unioncrypto.vip and claimed to offer a free smart cryptocurrency arbitrage trading platform. According to the report, however, no download links are live on the site. Um, of concern to the researchers, the variant is able to pull a payload from a remote location and run it in memory, making it harder to conduct a forensic analysis. I love that stuff runs in memory now. It's like not even going to touch disk. It's awesome.
Of course not.
So far, the malware can be detected by very few virus detection engines, with only 5 raising an alert when the Bleeping Computer report was published. The malware package has no certificate, however, and raises an alert on Mac OS. Furthermore, with the remote server, when the remote server is active, there is not yet any payload present. Uh, those factors may mean that the malware was found before the hackers were able to complete the trap, presumably aimed at crypto holders. Another researcher, Patrick Wardle, said that there are clear overlaps between this new malware threat and another recently attributed to Lazarus. A malware variant found in October attributed to them was also hidden on a fake crypto trading site. I guess they have their niche market now. Fake crypto trading sites.
So I have to say this. So they blame hackers. Damn.
Hackers?
Well, this hasn't happened yet.
Transfer $5 million into the following accounts.
Hey, yo, brain dead. That's not today. That's tomorrow. But yeah, this hasn't happened yet.
I love that movie. I actually have the poster right in front of me in my room.
Oh man, I wish I could have gotten the poster.
And I went on Amazon and I typed in hackers poster. I looked at about 15 of them and I found one with Angelina Jolie's face prominent. And I'm like, that's the one I want.
I think there was a Freaknik, not quite, I don't know, 13 years ago or something.
Uh-huh.
Where we went down and I can't remember the term for it. There's something called for a fan commentary. There's a term for it. And we made a fan commentary for hackers at Freaknik down in Nashville.
A Is that like a MST3K type thing?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So there was an article I read uh, on BBC earlier this week. I don't know if it was last week, but
Yeah.
I thought it was really cool. It was about the mysterious disappearing crypto queen, Ruja Ignatova. I don't know if you
Uh-huh.
guys know about this thing. So she's the one behind the fake OneCoin cryptocurrency,
Right.
and the article is not that long, so I'm gonna read it. But I thought it was pretty awesome. So, um, if ever an industry needed a PR makeover, it's the world of cryptocurrencies. It seems every week brings new evidence of scams and fraud. With the hacking of exchanges to initial coin offerings where the founder disappears with the money, just on Monday, America's SEC charged the founder of an online adult entertainment marketplace with running a fraudulent initial coin offering. But that case involves tens of thousands of dollars, a mere bagatelle compared to the monster cryptocurrency scam whose story is being told in an enthralling BBC podcast. And I haven't listened to the podcast yet, but I intend to. It's the in the missing crypto queen. Jamie Barlett investigates the woman behind OneCoin, a scheme which managed to persuade investors around the world to part with as much as $4.9 billion. They had brought in the compelling vision of a new kind of money sold by Dr. Ruja Ignatova in a series of events in countries around the world. You can catch a flavor of the mixture of hoopla, hucksterism, and blockchain balderdash in a video on a video of her appearance in London's Wembley Arena in 2016. Dr. Ignatova, or Dr. Ruja to her fans, walks on the "This Girl is on Fire," tells an excited crowd that OneCoin is on course to overtake Bitcoin, and derides all those Mickey Mouse coins that have copied our concept. Plenty of people were convinced, including one of the stars of the podcast, Jen McAdam from Glasgow. She invested $10,000 herself in the Bulgaria based scheme and persuaded family members to invest $250,000. Um, but in 2017, Dr. Ruja Ignatova disappeared and has not been seen since. The investigation by the team behind the podcast has uncovered how successful OneCoin has been in spreading its message around the world. Internal documents reveal that people in 175 countries invested with much of the money coming over a 6 month period in 2016 when Dr. Ruja was on a global tour, including that at Wembley. Uh, so in the UK, 26 million was invested in that period, and the podcast team reckons that the total coming from British investors may have been as high as 96 million pounds. But the document shows that 427 million came from China in 2016, with people in South Korea, Hong Kong, and Germany also being keen investors. Even in poorer countries like Vietnam, Bangladesh, and Uganda, people started parting with substantial sums. And I remember the other article I read, they actually had a story where they interviewed one of these guys who his family made maybe a few $100s a year. Like, and they invested the equivalent of like, I think 2 years worth of their working into this, thinking it was going to save them, and lost all that money. Earlier this year in the United States, Dr. Ignatova was charged in absentia of money laundering, with the Department of Justice calling OneCoin an old fashioned pyramid scheme. And indeed, this and other cryptocurrency scandals are disturbingly familiar to anyone who has been in financial journalism for a while. There was actually a story about a guy who went in for an interview with a company that had a somewhat sketch job listing where they said that they were looking for a cryptocurrency, a Bitcoin not a Bitcoin expert, a blockchain expert, and he went in, uh, and they didn't tell him the name of the company that he was interviewing for, and they told him they need him to develop a blockchain for a cryptocurrency that's already in use that doesn't have one yet. And he's like, how can the cryptocurrency be in use if it doesn't have a blockchain? And they're like, that's what the job is. And he thought it was super sketch, and later found out it was OneCoin. Um, Back in 2016, Bitcoin was still a revolutionary disruptor of the tired old financial system. Blockchain was going to be more important than the internet, and something called an initial coin offering was going to show Wall Street that an initial public offering was so last century. Now, after the wild gyrations in the value of cryptocurrency and the realization that just about every ICO fails to deliver on its promises, even if it's not an outright scam, you might think that crypto is the last word anybody might want to attach to a new project. That came to mind this week when the author of this article attended a briefing about Facebook's plan to launch a new cryptocurrency called Libra. The briefing was with the Libra Association, a collective of 28 partners, including Visa, PayPal, Uber, and Spotify, who are joining with Facebook to launch their own cryptocurrency. I predict that's going to fail. Uh, the plan has already run into opposition with regulators, yada, yada, yada. Um, So, moving back onto the part of the article, of course, Libra is a very different kettle of fish backed by very many respectable institutions who have pledged not to launch until regulators are happy. But convincing governments that cryptocurrency will not be a safe haven for money launderers or pose a threat to economic stability is going to be an uphill battle. But back to OneCoin, the company behind it rejects all allegations that it's a scam and states that OneCoin verifiably fulfills all criteria on the definition of a cryptocurrency, despite not having a blockchain. Um, it says that the bot actually in the other article it said they were keeping track of transactions in an SQL database. um, Company claims that allegations made about it in the world were being challenged. Our partners, our customers, and our lawyers are fighting successfully against the actions around the globe, and we are sure that the vision of a new system on the basis of financial revolution will be established. So they're not backing down from their con, but everybody knows it's a con. Fun stuff. Fun stuff. What do you guys think about it? She got away. She got plastic surgery. They're saying she was still going to her events that her investors had been at in the past. Like she was going to things that looking completely different. It's an interesting story. Anybody alive?
Oh, I'm dead.
Dead. Sorry if I bored you to death.
No, I'm fine.
Anybody else still with a living?
I am, although I'm kind of distracted.
All right.
What happened again?
I could just talk.
Not right now, no.
All right. Well, that's pretty much all I got, except for one more article. A decade in hacking, the most notable cybersecurity events of the 2010s, which is a rather long article, but we can skim it and reminisce over the fun things that happened a decade ago. So, you guys remember Stuxnet? I'm fucking talking to myself here.
Well, no, yeah, I remember it.
All right. Stuxnet was great. You know, computer worm co-developed by the U.S. and Israeli intelligence services to sabotage Iran's nuclear weapons program. No, that was cool shit. You don't hear about things like Stuxnet
I got
anymore.
asked by a reporter recently about the potential of various oil refineries blowing up here recently having to do with malware. And the answer I got from a SCADA expert is most likely not because it just happens sometimes. But have you heard anything about people targeting other types of power generation?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, power generation's a big target. I mean, if you were a terrorist and you wanted to really screw with the U.S., taking out our power grid would certainly be a prime target. And considering a lot of the SCADA systems and equipment are running on embedded devices and things like embedded Windows XP on usually on networks that are segmented from the rest, not usually connected online, but God forbid, so which means they don't get updates. But you get somebody who somehow manages to pivot into one of those networks, and they can cause all sorts of havoc. So it's a scary thing, you know. SCADA security. I mean, I've seen talks. You've recorded talks on SCADA security, and
I've heard quite a lot of talks.
yeah, but it's an interesting topic, and it's not an easy one because they want these networks are segmented from the rest. They're not online. They're not on the internet. And how do you do patch management if you can't connect online? You know, and the it's a interesting problem. Um, Operation Aurora, the Google hack. Not many internet users know about that. Even the almighty Google had its back-end infrastructure hacked. Um, Operation Aurora, a coordinated hacking campaign carried out by the Chinese military um, against some of the largest companies in the world, including Adobe, Rackspace, Juniper, Yahoo, Symantec, North Corp, Grumman, Morgan Stanley, and others. The actual attack took place in 2000s, however. It only came to light in 2010. Um, Operation Aurora was a turning point in Google's history. After Google discovered and publicly disclosed the attack, the company decided to stop working with the Chinese government in censoring search results on Google.cn. Google eventually shut down operations in China because of this, and Operation Aurora uh, was specifically mentioned as one of the reasons behind it. Uh, Fun stuff.
You ever
Press
actually?
release. Go
Oh, go
ahead.
ahead. No, this is off topic. This could be after show.
Okay.
Oh, almost after show. What? Who dropped?
I think it was Charles.
Well, if someone joined, maybe fellow just another weird.
The ghost join.
We got some hang connections, I think.
No. Lulsec. Remember Lulsec?
Yep, make
Yeah, the script kiddies. Yeah,
I actually had convinced a bunch of people that I was AV Unit for a while. They thought that I thought that was hilarious. Um, AV Unit's the one who got away in Lulsec.
Hello?
Anyway, Lulsec, the 50 Days of Lulz. Every time you see a hacker bragging on Twitter about their hacks using a broad array of internet memes to make fun of their targets, or taking suggestions on who to DDoS or hack, you're seeing another Lulsec copycat. The group's impact on today's hacking scene cannot be ignored. The group liked to hack big name companies and then snowball all over the internet. The 50 Days of Lulz campaign and the other major hacks they carried out set the trend for what was ending up being the rest of the decade from a slew of copycat attention seeking hacking groups, such as the Lizard Squad, those assholes who took down PlayStation Network, New World Hackers, Team Ops and CWA, and others that you've never heard of. However, LoSec remains atop everyone's else primarily due to their impressive list of hacking targets, which includes Fox, HB Gary, PBS, the CIA, and Sunny. While that is impressive, I think. Uh, what am I going to say here? It sucks that their leader decided to screw everybody else over.
And go with the FBI.
Sabu, yeah. Sabu was actually from New York, which is where I'm from, and he recently was about a year, maybe 2 years ago, went to this thing called what the hell was the name of it? It was kind of like a spot the Fed type thing, but it was a minor hacker convention, Suits and Spooks. That was what it was called. And a bunch of my friends at the time were trying to convince me to come with them. They wanted to go beat the shit out of them. Luckily, I didn't go because I probably would have gotten in a lot of trouble. But he was not well liked because of what he did. Obviously, you don't rat in this community.
You don't say.
Yeah, you don't rat. Yeah, he cooperated with the feds. That sucked.
What's up, fellas?
How's it going?
Who is this? Who are you?
Who am I? Jesus.
Who is this?
I'm an old timer.
An old timer.
Old timer.
We don't have any
What's
room
up?
for old timers.
IG.
It doesn't show your name.
Oh, it's Ricky.
Yeah, you gotta change your name there, buddy.
This is my first time in this meat shit.
Ricky, are you a fellow jitster?
Jitster.
Yep, that's what I'm calling it because I don't have the tab open and yeah, close enough.
What's a jitster? What is that? What is
That's
that?
the app we're using, motherfucker.
Oh, I
Jitsi.
got you.
Yeah.
Jitsi. Okay, Jitsi. No, I am not a. This is the first time I've opened it.
Was it been that long?
Yes, it's been that long. Yeah. I'll tell you later, but
Okay.
my wife is now at book club, so I get to join in.
Yay!
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome.
You should sign her up for more activities so you have more free time.
Oh, she's got plenty of activities. So what are we ranking, like the top hacking groups? What's going on here?
Yeah, there's an article on the top a decade of hacking, the most notable cyber security events of the 2010s, and I was just going through that and
Oh, cool.
reading the stuff and commenting on it.
Good job.
You know, yeah, that was the plan. You know, I seem to have lost my tab here. Just one second. Stupid, too many tabs open and just screwing stuff up. There we
Yeah,
go.
I
Okay.
I don't have my history turned on. So if I lose a tab, I'm screwed. I gotta go find it again.
Why don't you have your history turned on? What, you're looking at porn before?
Yeah, but a special type of porn, you know, elephants and well, we don't need to get into that.
Elephant porn. That's fun. All right. So we were talking about LulzSec and Sabu screwing everybody over, and I was talking briefly about how I convinced a bunch of my friends that I was AV unit, despite never having done anything with LulzSec.
So with Sabu in specifically, is it the contention that he immediately flipped, or was it after pressure was applied? I think those two things would make a great deal, or mean a great deal to me in terms of overall reputation.
Yeah.
You know, if you're getting 70 years,
True.
you know, you might go, I really don't know these guys. I just know them online. I don't know. I wouldn't be that type of person, but take a dive, you know, I don't know.
That actually, I mean, it would be interesting to know that information. I don't know if it's ever been made public as far as how when he flipped and like how long he was.
Oh. And what else did he have them on, you know?
Yeah.
Like, did they just have a list of like, I don't know, crazy nonsense, child porn, you know, whatever. I don't want to attach any rumors to him, but like, what did they happen to do to make him flip?
I think he wanted to make sure he wasn't going in jail and he had some kids to take care of, didn't he? I don't know if they were his kids or they were nieces and nephews, but there was
Well,
something.
I know he was running a scheme to improve people's credit scores in his apartment building, and that he was making money by essentially temporarily pumping up credit scores by filing a whole bunch of essentially filing reports that everything that they're claiming that you owe is not something that you owe, and hoping that they stick, and the score would temporarily shoot up like a couple hundred points, and then eventually it'd go back down to what it was. But in that time, people were able to get loans and do things that he needed to do. So he was making money doing that, and he had a bunch of side scams going on.
You know what happens to guys? I'm not going to say guys like us because I've never been arrested for that kind of thing. But if I were to be arrested, you go to jail, you serve your time. What happens when you get out? You go to work for the government, you start making some big time loot. It happens to every single one of them.
It is kind of a trope, I think.
I'm not sure if that's a true trope, though, or not.
Fucking Kevin Mitnick.
Well, yeah, he didn't start necessarily. He has his own private practice, doesn't he?
Yeah,
he came out and he started working for the government, yeah, and then started his private practice. But any chance I get to say fuck Kevin Mitnick, I will.
What do you have against Condor?
Oh, I don't have enough time. These guys have all heard it. I could rant for a while.
So a couple of years ago, I got an email that Kevin Mitnick was going to be in Manhattan giving a talk at the Cyber Investing Summit, and that tickets for this event were like $400. And I said, fuck, I'd like to meet Kevin Mitnick, but I do not want to spend $400 to do so. So I pretended to be a reporter from 2600 Magazine, and I managed to get in for free. And I actually interviewed Kevin and put it on my YouTube. I interviewed him for about 10 minutes, just asking him stupid questions, and it was cool. I mean, I think he knew that I had kind of social engineered my way in there, and he maybe respected it a little bit. But
your voice kind of sounds like Darren. As an aside, if I look away, I'm thinking that you're Darren every so often.
I'll take that as a
What the
compliment.
fuck?
Sorry, Darren, bro. It just, I hear it sometimes, not all the time. You got a more manly voice than he does, but I'm just saying.
What are you saying? All white people sound the same? Is that what you're saying?
That's right. Yeah.
Are you saying all white people sound the same? Is that it, Ricky?
No, I am not. Please don't use that against me.
I mean, Kevin's definitely sold out nowadays. When we looking at his latest book is just fluff. It's like The Art of Invisibility.
Yes.
And the Art of Deception was great. I liked that book. I mean, and
Frank Abagnale is another one. I used to respect the hell out of him. And then I met him in person, and I had dinner with him, and then it was like, no, this guy's just an asshole.
Never meet your heroes, they say.
Yeah. Where's the show notes? I need to take a peek.
I would link you to them, but I have no way of doing it. Are you in the Twitter chat?
Yes.
Hold on one second.
I tend to go off topic, and I'm sorry for that.
It's good. Off topic is good.
I jump around. Got it.
Yeah. So we're on the very last thing on the show notes anyway, so it's not like we have a lot.
Holy shit! An hour. Okay. All right. Wow.
Well, I kind of nobody was talking when I was reading the articles and commenting on them. I was pretty much doing a one-man show here, so.
I mean, if we don't have a lot of distractions, we get through the notes pretty fast because that's the part of our problem. To keep getting distracted and
the distractions
take us off topic.
Part.
You mean I haven't been on to distract everybody?
No, it's not really you.
All right. Thank you for that.
So going back to the article here, we have the I can't even say this. Diginotar hack changes the browser landscape. And I don't know about this one, so I'm going to read it. The hack of Diginotar is a little-known incident from 2011 that ended up changing how browsers, certificate authorities, and the internet works, and for the better. In 2011, it was discovered that the Iranian government hackers breached Diginotar and used its infrastructure to issue SSL certificates for mimicking popular websites, including Google and Gmail. The Iranian hackers then used the certificates to intercept encrypted HTTPS traffic and spy on more than 300,000 Iranians. The investigation revealed appalling security and business practices by the Dutch company, which led to a blanket ban across browsers, which refused to verify HTTPS websites secured by their certificate. The hack made Google, browser makers, and other tech giants take notice, and led to an overhaul of the entire practice of issuing SSL TLS certificates. I remember back then, it was not too hard to get a certificate that could sign other certificates, and then place it as a root CA and use it in SSL strip so that you could essentially intercept HTTPS traffic without causing a warning notification in the browser. Now it's impossible to get those. You
Hey,
cannot.
Adrian, are you streaming this to YouTube as well?
Yes.
All right, cool.
Don't put your dick on camera yet.
All right, I'll try.
Yeah, I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying not yet.
Not yet. All right.
You can. I mean,
Give me a
I don't
couple
mind.
minutes.
Dude, well, I tried to monetize this one.
Oh, all right.
Maybe
I'll be
Adrian
nice.
will get enough to buy a candy bar.
All right, next week we're switching this cast to Pornhub. I'll give you the URL on Twitter that week.
Oh, yes, you fixed it.
Oh wait, people were actually commenting, and I have
Okay.
not seen it.
I'm right here. I love you.
Jacob Hammond, selling credit lines to boost credit score isn't illegal. Well, no, it's not, but it's kind of sketch. Back to the show notes. Show notes. Know the article. Okay. So I lost my place, and I am not afraid to admit it. This is
You
not
were on the
right.
part when you talk about Adrian's chest.
I can't talk about something so manly. It's full of hair, and the pecs are just right there.
Dude, you just have to skip those things. You laugh and you skip.
No, I do not.
All right.
They can make his underwear.
It's a manly chest.
Fairly, it's
All
got a little bit bitch titty in the last few years.
So the PlayStation hack took place in this time period. In the spring of 2011, Sony announced that a hacker stole details for 77 million PlayStation Network users, including personally identifiable information and financial details. Now, this might seem like an insignificant number, but at the time, and for many years after, this was one of the biggest hacks in the world. For Sony, this hack was catastrophic, to say the least. The company had to shut down its cash cow, the PlayStation Network, for 23 days, while engineers addressed the security breach. And to this day, this still remains one of the longest outages in PlayStation Network's history. The company lost profits due to the outage, but also because of the class action suits that were filed by users after noticing some credit card fraud. And it lost even more money when it had to give a bunch of users free PlayStation 3 games to get them back online. The Sony PlayStation Network 2011 hack stands out because it showed the damages from a hack could cause if a company fails to invest in proper security. It stands out because it started the trend of companies adding clauses to their terms of service that force users to give up their right to file lawsuits following security breaches, which is just a dick move. Sony wasn't one of the first to issue such a clause, but they made it popular, and many other companies added clauses because of it. Comments, questions?
What year is it?
It is 1994.
$1994. Geez.
Yeah. So, the next thing we have to talk about, since nobody wants to talk, is Shamoon.
I am completely unprepared, so I'm sorry, bro. I
It's
didn't
okay.
read the show notes beforehand. I'd love to offer some, speak and wax poetic on this, but I just don't have the the background on some of these things to kind of chat about it.
All good. I appreciate that.
So good job so far. You're like Walter Cronkite over here.
At least I'm not like Anderson Cooper. I hate that guy.
I would never call you him.
Thank you. Shamoon and its destruction. Created in Iran, Shamoon, also known as Distrack, is a piece of malware that can be considered the direct result of Stuxnet. Having learned firsthand how destructive malware can be, the Iranian government created its own cyber weapon, one that was first deployed in 2012. Designed to wipe data, Shamoon destroyed more than 35,000 workstations on the network of Saudi Aramco, Saudi Arabia's national oil company, bringing the company to its knees for weeks. It was reported that the Saudi Arabia Aramco purchased most of the hard drives in the world in an effect to replace its destroyed PC fleet, driving up HDD prices for months after, while vendors struggled to keep up with demand. That's pretty badass. Shimon!
Shamoon!
Sorry.
Thank you. Versions of the malware were spotted in subsequent years, mostly deployed in companies active or associated with the oil and gas industry.
What the fuck is that? That's me. Shit.
Airplane taking off.
All right, we'll go get a copyright violation strike for me playing part of Michael Jackson's Bad video.
Oh, man.
That's all on me.
No. So the reason that we put in there that section was directly related to this new story. So, it's transformative work.
Yep. Copyright system sucks. And speaking of copyright system, real quick, so I love Taylor Swift, and I'm not afraid to admit it. And she cannot play,
She's pretty, but sometimes she says stupid shit.
Yeah, but
sometimes
I love her music. She cannot play her old catalog of songs live because the company Big Machine that owns her catalog is saying that if she plays them live, it's essentially doing a new recording of the song. So since she doesn't own the rights to those songs anymore, she's not allowed to play them, which is stupid. I mean, she wrote the songs. She wrote them, and they're no longer her intellectual property.
Wow.
So that's just one of the things that annoyed me. Because her new music sucks. So, like, everything she's made in the past 8 years sucks. But before that, her stuff was good. The next thing we have to talk about is Flame. No, not Adrian's old Flame. But Flame, the most sophisticated malware strain ever created. And discovered by Kaspersky and linked to the Equation Group, aka the NSA, Flame was described as the most advanced and sophisticated malware ever created. It eventually lost this title when they found Region 2 years later, but Flame's discovery revealed the technical capabilities gap between the cyber arsenal of the United States and all the tools employed by other nation states. A subsequent report by the Washington Times claimed that Flame was part of the same arsenal of hacking tools as Stuxnet and was primarily deployed against Iran. The malware hasn't been cited since its discovery, and is today considered a major point of the escalation of cyber espionage operations all around the world. Pretty cool. Okay, Snowden. You guys know Snowden, right? We can talk about Snowden.
I know of him.
All right. So Snowden's pretty divisive in the infosec community, depending on your feelings on what he did. Some people think he's a hero. Other people think he's a traitor. Um, and others probably think even more things. But um, regardless of what you think about him, the whole Snowden revelations were
Tying over here.
the Snowden leaks. Probably the most important cybersecurity event in the decade. They exposed is not a word. Exposed a global surveillance network that the U.S. and its Five Eyes partners had set up since the 9/11 attacks. Its revelations led countries like China, Russia, and Iran to start their own surveillance operations, and amp up foreign intelligence gathering efforts, leading to an increase in cyber espionage as a whole.
As a whole.
Yeah, as a whole. Currently, many countries flaunt concepts like a national internet or internet sovereignty to justify spying on their citizens and censoring the web. And it all started after Snowden revealed to the world the USA's dirty laundry back in 2013. So Snowden, that was a big one. What do you guys think of Snowden? Hero?
I don't have a
traitor?
strong fucking opinion. I know the people when it all broke, I was working with some people in the intelligence community, and they hated the motherfucker. Some other people see him as a hero. I don't know.
I don't hate the guy, but what he clearly did was, I know, after reading, so what he initially did, make the American public aware of this enormous spying operation, is a good thing. I think the problem that I had with him was how he went about it. He put people's lives in danger. State secrets were given directly to, if you want to believe, the Chinese and Russian governments. So from that standpoint, traitor, I agree. But for what he did, I'll excuse him for it. Bradley Manning, Chelsea Manning, on the other hand, oh,
Would that person ever stop talking in emojis?
nope. I don't think insane people change much.
But with Chelsea Manning, the guy who turned him in, Adrian Lamo, I was like in the same kind of community as him in hanging out on IRC for 2600 and stuff. And I mean, I talked to him online. I wasn't really friends with him, but it's like that guy killed himself recently. I think in part due to the whole.
He was killed by the CIA. Stop lying.
Yeah, well, maybe he was, but he's gone. So it's like, and Chelsea is back in jail.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, she refused to comply with a court order relating to Julian Assange. They wanted essentially her to give details about what information was transferred between her and him and what was talked about. And she tried to plead the fifth, and they wouldn't allow her. They said it was like a grand jury; you can't plead the fifth. And she was held for contempt of court. And now they are just keeping her in jail until the trial is over. But the trial's dragging on, and they'll just find another reason to throw her in jail once she gets out.
She had a rough experience in jail, so I don't wish that on anyone. As far as I know there's some conspiracy theories out there, but from what I know, it was a pretty horrific experience.
Yeah. Moving on. You guys remember the Target hack?
Hey, Ricky.
Can't forget it. Yes, sir.
When you're not talking, you might want to mute your mic. We're picking up a lot of background noise.
Yeah, it sounded like you're.
These new headphones. All right. Yep, will do. Thanks.
He's gone. We lost them. All right. The target hack. I remember this one. So, if I remember correctly, this was the essentially it was pivoting onto the target network via an HVAC system, and then dumping the POS stuff. I could be wrong. That's what I remember for some reason. But anyway, it was introduced. Target admitted the malware was planted on its store systems and helped hackers collect payment card information for 40 million people. POS malware has happened before. It happened recently, 2 weeks ago in our cast. We were talking about Chipotle and some other places that got POS malware. So, POS malware has happened before, but this was the first time a major retailer suffered a breach this large. And other retailers followed in the next couple of years. Hackers steal the cards and then sell them on card shops on the darknet and create clone cards, drain bank accounts, fun stuff. The Adobe hack. I hate Adobe. Does anybody who works in IT actually like Adobe?
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're like maybe a graphic designer or something, and even then you probably hate them. But,
I mean, they've got some decent products, but you know, I think all of us would frown upon Adobe Reader and Adobe Flash. Even Reader's gotten a little better, but for sure, Flash.
Yeah, Flash was a horrible security mistake. I mean, don't get me wrong, Newgrounds was great back in the day, but the security implications of the way they implemented Flash are just horrible. So in 2013, Adobe admitted hackers stole the data of 153 million users. The data was dumped online. Users' passwords were almost immediately cracked and reversed back to plain text because you should always salt and hash your passwords, not just one. For many years, the incident was used to push the adoption of strong password hashing functions. I didn't know they were going to say that, but I said something similar first. The Silk Road. Now.
I was watching it on the laptop.
We lose you, Trey?
Yeah, what's going on there?
Oh, yeah, connection lost.
Huh? Everybody leave?
No, looks like Trez dropped out. His connection dropped.
I was trying to
So,
find emojis so Live Beef can call me Hot Buttered Hedgehog, but never mind.
I mean, with that said, is there anything else to cover, or are we kind of done? Because we're about the hour and a half mark here.
From a news perspective, yeah, I think everything was hit. I'm just looking through the list here. Obviously, I haven't been on the whole time, but
Did you know they only added a stick of butter to Unicode in 2019?
no. It's good.
Did you know if you look on Twitter for the term, I think it's a Klejo, I'm not quite sure how to spell it right now. It's a brand of German handcuffs. Actually, own a copy. Before a certain person was brutally slain by a rogue common San Diego cosplayer, they recommended this one company to buy some stuff from, and I got these German handcuffs. Klejo.
Lockpicking for lockpicking?
Well, for my general use and for taking the villages, CLEJUSO. If you search for that on Twitter, it's not about Locksport, at least not directly. But it's a German company, so what do you expect?
Oh,
Anyway, back on topic.
there is no topic. You got it, bud.
Well, does anybody have anything else to say?
Not
for
that's
me.
of the news, security news, that is.
And-
I like the interview with Susan Wiki. I don't know if you guys
Oh, I need
chat
to go back
about
and watch that. I started watching that, and I don't think I finished it because I saw someone else who was going to do commentary and fuck with it. Give us a highlight reel.
Yeah. Yeah, it basically, the interviewer was asking Susan Wiki for more censorship. It was interesting. Like, there's not enough. Like,
Fuck off with that shit. Well, there's also been these far left nut jobs who've been whining about YouTube radicalizes people. Radicalizes people, and the work looks like the most bullshit. It's basically you heard of what is it? 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon.
yeah.
It's like 6 Degrees of Richard Spencer, where they try to tie the entire YouTube universe. And remember, YouTube is if you disagree with somebody, you will sit there and fucking talk to them.
Isn't Richard Spencer? I don't know a ton about the guy other than he used to be like
Well,
the symbol for all.
he's your average progressive. He's really racist. He's just racist towards people who aren't white, as opposed to racist towards people who are white.
Isn't he a
Other than
communist?
that, it's
though?
Bernie Sanders.
God,
Richard
Yeah.
Spencer, Bernie Sanders. It's hard to tell different. No, all right. I'm gonna roll that back a little bit. But yeah, he's of all the people out there who could legitimately be called a Nazi. My understanding, he actually could be because he is a socialist, he is a nationalist, and he's a white nationalist. Though the Nazis, my thing, were more like German
are we talking about
white
weed?
nationalists. But
Yeah, I wouldn't mind if he disappeared off the planet.
it wouldn't hurt my feelings too bad. But I mean, he actually does such a bad job for the optics. It's probably a good thing to have him out there because he makes them look really dumb.
Yeah.
Because there's actually alt-righters out there who think Richard Spencer is controlled opposition because he makes them look so bad.
Yeah, there was another guy like that. The guy that organized that march on Charlottesville.
Oh crap!
Whoever
What's
that guy was.
The guy I think he founded Identity Europa. His name is not coming to me. He was actually in the Proud Boys for a little bit, but Proud Boys isn't
That
a
guy,
racist
yeah,
group.
yeah.
He wasn't. Proud Boys isn't a racist group. It's currently led by like an Afro-Cuban dude.
Yeah.
And they have a bunch of multiracial members. Actually, they're probably more integrated racially than Antifa is. Yeah,
they are shit stirrers, though.
they didn't like his racial ideas, so they kicked his ass out.
Yeah.
But I need to look up the guy's name.
Yeah, but I think that they thought he was controlled opposition as well, you know, and tag on that Richard Spencer.
I love fringe groups and studying them. So that does get me called just because I know about shit. I got some crazy peacock-head motherfucker online calling me a fascist and fascist supporter. I'm like, dude, I'm a conservative libertarian. I want small government and people out of my business. That's about as far as from fascist as you can fucking get.
So somebody calls you a fascist. I think it's time to just shrug it off. I know it's hard for you, but all they have to do is spend 10, 20 minutes. I think we've talked for hours and hours and hours at this point. There's nothing about you that says fascist to me. I mean,
They
when
don't
I
even know the meaning of the word. They like
when
they don't
I-
know what fascist is.
no.
They just think it's an insult.
Yeah, I'm terrible
No.
at fashion, man. You ever see how I dress? It's usually a con t-shirt and some shorts.
when I first met Adrian, the thing that I got from him, he was anti-feminist, and that's it. There was nothing more to it than he seemed to be anti-feminist, or at least becoming one. I don't know if you were at the time,
Well,
but
it is a hate group, you know.
yeah, I'm sure.
But
Yeah.
apparently, I think the guy's name is Nathan Domingo. Does that sound right?
I couldn't even tell you. I don't know if it would sound
The
right.
founder of
I just
Identity Europa.
remember there being some discussions on podcasts and YouTube videos and things like that where, you know, this guy was controlled opposition. So
Yeah, listen to all those people. It's kind of interesting to listen to. There's something called they've done a couple of these Christmas specials. It's not this dude named Millennial Rose, who's like this alt-writer. They'll have various people from across the political spectrum on, and have someone like Sargon of Akkad, who is a classic liberal, who is slowly becoming what an average Republican might be in the United States. Talk to him, and you see the Sargon guy try to talk him back and Millennial Rose go the other way, and it's a really interesting conversation because this Millennial Rose guy, he doesn't seem to actually hate other races, but he seems to have this weird, almost like dog breeder mentality towards keeping the purity of a particular breed. That's really fucking weird, and I don't understand. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. I think in that Sargon video, one of them where he debates the alt-right, he's like, what is a white person? Tell me. What makes someone white? Is German? I'm sorry, is Greek people
Yeah, I don't
white?
think that was Millennial Rose because Millennial Rose is a little bit better about that as far as he looks at Sargon and says, okay, I know you're like 1/8 Caribbean, which was from African descent, the particular Caribbean that he came from. But he still considers him white because he looks white. There are some other ones that it's really, anal retentive level. Watching fringe groups is kind of fascinating because, and there's some things I'm confused about some fringe groups about how exactly one is considered left and one is considered right because they all seem to want the same thing, but it's just on different racial lines. Like Farrakhan gets thrown in with the left sometimes. Spencer gets thrown in with the right. But if you look at some of what they want to do, they're both racist. Don't get me wrong. But it's just for a different race. I don't understand what the right-left division is there.
They're all a bunch of fucking morons. It should come down to ideas and ideas only.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we shouldn't be separating anybody anyway, but if you're gonna start a group, it's got to be based on ideas.
I agree with that.
Oh, I know you do.
There's just like,
yeah, it's pretty clear you do. I mean, you have people on your podcast. That's who you associate with. You even associate with people that don't hold your ideas. I mean, there's a couple of us on here that aren't as right as you.
Yeah, I was told by someone that I block anybody who criticizes me. Not necessarily. Depends on how you go about it. If you're just a jackass throwing names, yeah, you get blocked. If you're a pervy-looking motherfucker who likes to count the number of women at every conference, yeah, I'll probably block it because you're creepy.
Isn't that weird?
I fucking hate those people.
Isn't that weird?
There aren't enough women at RSA conference. Why we need to get free tickets to women for? It's like fuck you.
Is it the free tickets, or is it? I truly want to talk to somebody about this who believes that maybe women are being held out in today's day and age. In the past, maybe they didn't feel comfortable there. But is it so much that they can't afford the tickets? Or is it the fact that the subject matter, RSA sucks anyway.
Yeah.
Fuck RSA. But is it because they give out free tickets like it's goddamn candy? I get emails from vendors all the time. Hey, we got your ticket. If you want to show up, you got 4 free tickets. Just pay for travel. Is it the ticket cost or is it the interest? I think it's the interest.
I mean, it's one of those one of those cons where it's an industry con. It's not like a hacker con. This is
no, Adrian has the name for it. What do you call it? Business con?
VendorCon.
VendorCon, okay.
I don't know if that name is original to me either. I think I picked it up from someone else.
Okay. Yeah, but I liked your list of con names because they fit perfectly.
Yeah, I wrote an article a while back on types of cons.
And I stopped going to DEF CON this would be my 3rd year now that's ending.
Oh, by the way, yeah, the guy who founded Identity Europa, I'm pretty sure was the guy who I believe started the Charlottesville March thing was Nathan Domingo.
Okay. I can see both groups. I remember there was an Antifa video, or there's somebody on the right. Somebody made a video of this guy who had marched in on the Antifa side. He had the black.
No, I'm wrong. I'm wrong on something. Let me correct myself real quick. Apparently, Unite the Right, according to Wikipedia at least, which is granted not a great source for a few things, Jason Kessler, and it says Richard Spencer.
Jason Kessler, that's the name I was looking for.
That's the guy everybody was saying was controlled opposition.
Yeah, yep. And maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I just remember there was a lot of talk about it. Shit, where was I going?
Oh, sorry, I don't know. I'm gonna go get me some more pepper schnapps. I'll be right back.
All right. I'm off the rails.
Off the rails.
Where's the rails? Where's everybody?
They're on the
Where's
rails.
my buddy BDS Bandit? Where's Charles? Where?
You mean BSD Bandit?
No. He knows his name. Chuckles.
He is awfully smiley.
Where's my boy Nate?
Oh, it's working.
How about Jack?
He's jacking off.
Of course. Sounds like him.
You're stuck in
Oh, anyway, so I know what I was talking about. So there's a video of, I don't remember who took it, but this guy shows up. He's in Antifa gear. He's got like a shield and battalion. He's ready to fight. And then he goes to the side. He changes clothes like somewhere else. Puts on like, a Proud Boy uniform. And he's got a black backpack, and you can clearly see the shield he was holding when he was fighting the Proud Boys or whoever else was there. And he was on the other side, and he was holding up a Nazi flag. Like, there's black ops.
Yeah, I got someone whining about. Well, I have Devin complaining, and I haven't seen all of his slides because I don't want to bother to see his stupid shit.
I know, I saw that too.
He's got a slide of me holding a Kekistani flag, not knowing what the fuck it is. It started off as a meme against identity politics, dumbass. Basically, It was an identity for people who don't like identity politics. There's a whole Jeff. What's the guy's name?
Jeff Hall?
No, it's Jeff somebody who made a video explaining the whole Kekistani meme.
All of this is a meme, and if they continue to allow racists and Nazis to take over symbols and signs without fighting back, they're just giving them the war. They're just saying, okay,
yeah, but they're dumbasses.
Whatever signs you guys choose to represent, if you want to take the okay hand symbol, fuck it, go ahead, you can have it. Instead of fighting back and making everybody do it, so it's not part of their little arsenal.
All right,
It's so stupid.
On YouTube. Look up Jeff Holiday.
Jeff Holiday.
He has a great, and someone made a mirror of it because apparently his original is down. But he made a great explanation of exactly where the hell that meme came from. But I still get shit from people from time to time about that. And I'm like, you don't understand what the hell it is.
Not Pepe. PewDiePie.
Oh, I got some motherfucker
documentary
about
PewDiePie.
I had someone calling me fascist and trying to prove it to Tawny, that Falcon Dark Star dumbass, because I have a talk that has some stuff about 4chan and weaponized autism, and he complained about 4chan causing an airstrike against ISIS. What the fuck is wrong with that? If they can do it, yes, use it.
Well, I mean, they're not authorized.
Well, they're not the ones actually directly doing it. They're just saying, hey, Russians, hey, Americans, hey, we figured out from all these training videos and propaganda videos, this is what the fuckers are. And that's where the weaponized autism comes in, because that's the term they use. You find it offensive? I don't care. That's the term they use, because they have such intense focus. Like, trying to think of the name of the syndrome that's a less severe form of autism.
Asperger's?
Asperger's, thank you. The guy Asperger who came up with that term, I believe he referred to some of his patients as little professors, because they developed this intense focus on some in particular subject. They may have problems in other fields, but there's one particular or a few particular subjects they were great at. And that was what 4chan did. They looked at all sorts of unique shit and figured it out. But this guy's calling me a fascist because I researched 4chan and them doing these different ops. Oh.
No, I worked at a school for autistic kids. I was just volunteering. I was on their steering committee, and I got a chance to tour the school with some of the younger kids. There was a kid, he might have been 7. And his fascination was sports mascots. So you name a college, he'd be able to tell you the mascot with certainty who it was. There was another kid who was fascinated by bridge design and engineering. And he would draw out very intricate drawings of the way he would engineer a bridge. And it was just remarkable. I don't know if that's not weaponized autism. It just shows that these
Some of the categories, like
Sorry.
young people, they have a skill set. And yeah, maybe they're not as great socially, but they're special. And if 4chan wants to be special in those types of ways, if that's what they focus on, if that's what their path leads them to, by all means.
Yeah, I found the shit in my talk I gave on that. I found the shit they did to Shia LaBeouf hilarious.
Oh yeah.
But man, that
sure.
turns out this Falcon Dark Star or Falcon Dark Anus. I don't remember what his name is exactly now. Pissed him off that I was doing that. I'm like, dude, what the fuck is wrong? We got so many people in this industry that are fucked up in various ways.
Well, yeah.
They're not completely normal like I am.
Yeah, I think our industry does attract specific types of individuals.
Oh, we had a whole bunch of people join all of a sudden, and some of the names I don't know. Who's Bonus?
I don't know.
Who
I was
is?
chatting
I know.
earlier.
Billy Ray. Oh wait, Billy Reynolds hairpiece. I know who Bill Rennar is, but I'm not sure who his hairpiece is.
Jethro Underwear. Is this link supposed to be private? How were they?
I didn't think I posted it publicly unless I totally fucked up the posting. By the way, the pepper schnapps is kicking in.
Boners.
What did I do? No, it looks like a YouTube video, so I didn't post that one publicly.
Okay. Interesting.
Nope, they got kicked. Who kicked them?
I ain't saying.
Well, folks, I don't have anything new to add that is anything I want to say on air.
Me neither.
This is go get quote minded anyway. But I appreciate y'all joining, and we'll catch y'all next Wednesday.
Peace.
Alrighty. Peace and chicken grease.
Later.